Not that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1595, 1595. We're just 5 away from 1600, and I am Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Castro Valley, Mont. Today we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer. I am so happy to see you, even though you may not be happy to see me. You might be a little bit awkward and going, hi Mike, good to see you again.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
With your awkward, crooked smile going, Mike, what are you doing here?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Well, it's my show, yo, and this is what I do on a daily basis. Oh God, I'm not gonna think of anything that rhymes with basis. Well, I guess I might be in a sort of stasis, but that's okay. I'm not gonna be complacent, and I'm going to bring you this show.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
From Café Anyway, located somewhere in Castro Valley, where there is a crappy
Mike's
light
Daily
on the corner
Podcast
of
Anyway.
Yeah!
not Maori. What's the next one over? Not Liberty. Not. I can't think of all these stupid Fremont street names. It's this street that just, it always has this signal in the... Mike, I want to let you let go all the tension, self-awareness, and doubts. Oh, I just got this email at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. Look who just walked in. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, Gift Shop Supervisor. What signal are you mad at? I'm mad at a signal that is always red, and you should be able to trigger it when you drive over the little sensor thingies. It's at the corner of Liberty and Walnut. Stupid name for a street, Walnut. I used to live on a Chestnut Street. Or was it a Peanut Street? I lived on some kind of nut street once upon a time. Look who else walked in. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere the engineer. Yes, Mike, Walnut is a stupid name for a street. Mm-hmm. Walnuts are delicious, though. And a good source of, I think they got omega-3s in there. But yeah, Walnut Street and Liberty Street. This light is ridiculous. It will not ever turn green even if you're the only car.
And here's today's podcast picture.
At 4:45 in the morning, if you're the only car and you drive over the little sensors, nothing. It will just sit there. And just, But I am happy about one thing that I see every day as I commute, which I will not have in the podcast picture today. It will be something else entirely. But yes, as I drive to Fremont from the Castro Valley every day, I pass by this street called Sorensen. It's Mission and Sorensen in Hayward, California. There is this old dilapidated shopping center, absolutely horrible. And when I started my job about 2.5 years ago, it was already looking bad, and it just got worse and worse. And the stores all vacated, and it got worse. And they put up plywood over the windows because people are breaking in, and it gets worse. And it's covered in graffiti. And then someone started a fire, and it gets worse. And every time I drove past it, I did one of these, level it and start over. Just level it. Just tear it down. Tear down this disgusting... Ugh. Please. Rip it apart, rip it down. Well, this morning, as I drove to work, I saw that they, in fact, had torn it down. Yeah. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. They have totally destroyed it. They brought in a big old bulldozer, and it's gone. It's gone. It is leveled, and I couldn't be more happy. And I only drive Mission to work because coming home, it's ridiculous. Every idiot who never leaves their house who doesn't know how to drive, who drives like 2 miles an hour and cuts you off, and horrible white delivery vans. That is what I deal with when I am trying to drive home at 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But so I don't take Mission, I just take the freeways, which we call them freeways here in California, and we love it. We don't say highways, we say freeways. Or I-5. We take the I-95. No, we take the freeway. And we're happy with that. So taking the wonderful one of the 80s, 680 or 880 home, get home so much faster than having to deal with Mission. But it is gone. The Sorensen Mission scary monstrosity is gone, and I couldn't be happier. How about a picture today of San Clemente, California? That sounds awesome. San Clemente on a wonderful overcast day. I went to San Clemente. When was this? This has got to be a 7-year-old picture by now. Dang. But what I am enjoying is, as I have turned 50, or am about to turn 50, later on in the year, I'm hearing all about the stuff that happened 50 years ago. 1968 was a big, big year. It was so big, in fact, that 5 years ago, Oakland decided to make a huge museum exhibit about 1968 and about all the craziness of the election year that was that year. All these independents. You had the racist George Wallace running. You had, there were candidates against the Vietnam War, candidates for the Vietnam War. Lyndon Johnson, the president, saying, no, I'm not going to run again. That's like Trump saying, I'm not going to run again. He's already said he's going to run again. He's already got a slogan, which I forgot. Keeping America great again, I think is what it is. And yeah, that's how Lyndon Johnson was like, nope. He tried at the beginning of the year. He was in a couple of primaries, and he said, nope, I'm done. Nobody likes me anymore because I got us into Vietnam. Okay. So that's what the 1968 is a fascinating year. And of course, we're coming up on the very tragic, left a big hole in history, Martin Luther King Jr. being assassinated. That happened. Was it today? April 3rd. It's today, isn't it? Or was it April 4, as is mentioned in the U2 song? I think that was a misstatement. Or maybe it was April 4. In the name of love, one more in the name of love. The U2 song about Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. I'm going to pick up a history book today and get caught up on that. But you will probably know more than I by the time you hear this podcast. Which, by the way, I have some more new podcast listeners, or people at least checking it out. As I go to Fairmont Ridge, where I like to walk my dog, Basil the Boxer, I have a group of people that I see all the time. And one of them is a guy who used to own a comic book store. And yesterday I saw him, and he told me, yeah, he listened to the show. And I go, what'd you think? And he was kind of, what? Uh-huh. Yeah, I listened to it. So I don't know if he likes the show or not, but he did enjoy Basil barking. And yes, Basil is a part of Mike's Daily Podcast, as he is a part of my daily life. But it was great to see yesterday, not only him, but also, oh my gosh, we're getting a call. I gotta go see what this call is. Hold on.
It's a nightmare of a show.
You need to put a sign out, Mike. It says, leave me alone.
ADOW. Get out.
Get out. Amityville Horror. Like, hey, I'm going to go talk to Rob's producer. He doesn't need to focus. Rob just said the word. What did he say? Whoa. FCC gets involved. So anyway, second
Excellent. Okay. I mean, that's not a good thing that the accident happened, but thank you for telling us. I'll let our traffic guy know. Thank you.
You know, we have a basic responsibility to protect people's data, and if we can't do that, then...
Wow, we got a traffic call this early. Interesting.
We don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people.
He was telling me about a car that's overturned. People are calling up radio stations for traffic reports at the weekend job that I'm at that nobody ever calls the radio station. there was a lady that called up and said, yeah, your traffic guy keeps mentioning there's a backup on 580. Well, there's not. Ma'am, I'm sure there's a backup on 580 somewhere. So just let it go. But, okay. Well, I got a call at Café Anyway. What a strange occurrence. Mike Matthews, I thought we had all the phones cut. I think we did, but somehow they still ring. Here's another call.
Hello?
Yes, can I help you?
Yes. My name is Blaine.
Did you say Blaine?
No, Blaine.
Did you say Blaine?
No, Blaine.
Okay. And what can I help you with?
Yes, I was
Hold on, before you have that, I need to play this because whenever the phone rings, I need to play.
Ring, 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 banana phone.
Are you done?
I'm done.
My name is Blaine.
Okay, Blaine, what can I help you with?
You were talking about a traffic accident. I am a commuter, and I need to know exactly where the traffic accident is.
Okay. Thank you for destroying the show and the continuity.
You're welcome. Goodbye.
And there they go. And I have a dial tone sound effect for you right now that I'm creating organically. Here we go. Okay. Did you enjoy that? Yay! That was my organic... Okay, wonderful. And I got one other thing. I gotta do this. Okay. It was so good to hear from Blaine or Bling or whatever his or her name is. Very confusing. My point being that we have things being torn down and people that I run into that I know who act really awkward and weird around me. I don't get that. Not at the people at the dog park. That was fun yesterday at Fairmont Ridge. I got to see my friends Nick and Stephanie. I hadn't seen them in a while, and they hadn't been to the Fairmont Ridge, and they keep yelling at me going, Mike, stop talking about Fairmont Ridge. All these people are showing up to Fairmont Ridge. It's all because of your podcast, and that's sort of a nice little compliment. And then Stephanie said, can I listen to your show on Spotify? Which Spotify is supposed to be becoming public as far as a stock goes. Was it yesterday? And I don't have my podcast on Spotify. I don't know how to get my podcast on Spotify. This is a big lingering question, and I don't know how to answer it. So that's a good question. I just wrote down Spotify in big words. That's my spot today, is to try and find that. And I need to Spotify. So my point being, it was great seeing all those people yesterday. And yeah. Okay. And San Clemente's the picture. We got to that. Did we get to... I wanted to let go of all the tension, self-awareness, and doubts and mind games to make a carefree song that feels good. Meant to be is the end result. All right, meant to be. I can stream it on Spotify or SoundCloud. There we go. That's what this person is telling me. Michael Paradise. Okay, Michael Paradise. Well, if you would have sent me like an actual link to a thing I could have used to play, I could have maybe played this on my show, but whatever. I don't know who gave out my email to all these musicians that think I'm going to play their stuff on my show. You know, if I'm going to play your show, your music on my show, there's this little thing I want you to remember. It's this little word, and it's called payola. Hey, a teacher who ran a white supremacist podcast, she said, was satire. She says the supremacist podcast she was doing. And she submitted her resignation. She's a Florida middle school teacher named Diana, and she spells her name really weird. Diana. It's a Diana, maybe, is how you're supposed to say it. Volatich submitted her. Speaking of podcasts, Sylvia, who is an avid listener of this show, or at least that's what I tell myself, she told me she's addicted to a new podcast she hears where the guy whispers. The whole podcast, he whispers. The whole podcast, and it helps her fall asleep. I'm not going to whisper, ladies and gentlemen. because you will not hear me then. And this podcast will be for naught. But she is no longer going to do her podcast, for she has resigned. Fox News defends... Wait, what is this? She called the podcast unapologetic. Okay. Then there's Laura Ingraham, who has had some comments that linger into the racist sort of, some people would say, area. Dozens of advertisers may have dropped Fox News' Laura Ingraham over her mockery of the Parkland school shooting. Fox News defends Laura Ingraham over her David Hogg comment, denouncing advertising boycott as intimidation efforts. Laura Ingraham is 54, and she looks great. Firefighters killed in Indiana airport plane collision. 2 firefighters died when their light aircraft crashed into another plane at an Indiana airport. This happened Sunday afternoon. That story brought to you from CNN, and that is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate indeed. It's sad. Robert Warren was poking through his art gallery's closet when he stumbled on an old painting hidden behind a table. It looked like a dingy oil-on-wood panel of nude mythological features, and it suffered water damage. This was right before President's Day weekend in 2016. And then he found like an auction sticker on it. Turned out that this painting is the work of 16th century Dutch master Otto van Veen, who lived from 1556 to 1629. And this little piece of crap that he found is likely worth more than $4 million. That story also from CNN. And finally, Trump has derided several U.S. news outlets as fakers, probably talking about CNN, you would imagine. And he says things like,
"You are fake news.
Fake news. Fake news."
And he said news fake outlets as fakers, afraid of increased competition from Sinclair Broadcasting Group. After the broadcasters seeking federal approval to buy Tribune Media Company drew criticism for having anchors read verbatim scripted statements about fake news. The fake news networks, those that knowingly have a sick and biased agenda, are worried about the competition and quality of Sinclair broadcast. I think we as a whole, you need to find out who your Sinclair broadcaster is in your area and stop watching them. Stop. Don't watch anything that they broadcast at all. Boycott. That's all I have to say. And you need to do that with Sinclair Broadcasting, because they force their anchors to say exactly verbatim these things. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Castro Valley. Now, I work for a company, a lovely company that gets phone calls at 5:45 in the morning, as you just heard. And they are very much conservative slanted, but they let people say what they want. And it was interesting that there was conversation in the hallway about, can you believe what Sinclair Broadcasting did? Wow. So, I don't know. That is what it is. And I hate the expression, it is what it is, but I guess I just said it. Or I hate also the expression, it is until it isn't. And then I get confused, as I've just done. But next show, we're going to have the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Thanks for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow.